Hello everybody, welcome back to TDS Studios. I'm TDS and this is the studio. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Sketches. Last episode we went over my longest video yet, and for this episode we'll be going to my second longest video yet. The top 15 worst Spyro Reignited trilogy levels. Man, that's a mouthful of a title. Before my Shrek video, this was not only my longest video, but it was also the most viewed until the Tinkerer video, and my favorite video, again until the Shrek video. I really love this video and I'm really happy with how it turned out, but actually making the video, much like the Shrek video, was an absolute nightmare. That tends to be a pattern with all my really long videos, except for the Tinkerer one for some reason. So for today's episode, we're going to be talking about the production behind my Spyro video and comparing it to the Shrek video, because they have a lot more similarities than one would think. So let's sit back, relax, as we take a look behind the sketches. I love doing these intros. After editing the Rise and Fall of Fairy Tale parodies, I like to look at my top worst Spyro levels video as pre-gaming for that video. Because looking into like the creative process behind them is that they have a lot in common, both in what I like about them and overall what I hated about working on those videos. Because they have a very similar structure, the only real difference is 1, the subject matter, 2, the length, and 3 is just the overall amount of work I had to do for both videos. Let's start with the stuff I do before the editing. Mainly scripting and I guess researching is the best word I can put for it. For the Shrek video, I mainly just had to watch 10 movies, which, you know, pretty easy, and I just took a couple notes, did some Google searching for like facts about the productions and how much money they made, that sort of stuff. And despite how long the script was, scripting was probably the easiest part of that video, because it was more just like writing facts down and writing my thoughts on the movies. But the Spyro video was definitely a lot harder, because for this video I had to play through the entire Spyro Reignited trilogy to 100% and go over what were the worst levels in the entire 3 games, which takes a lot more time than just watching some movies. So yeah, for like the first, and usually the stages before actually making the videos doesn't really take that long for me, but this was like a special case because I literally had to replay these games multiple times, which I enjoyed because, you know, the Spyro Reignited trilogy is great. I love playing these games, but mainly because it was about the worst levels in the Reignited trilogy, that did kind of suck out a little bit of the fun. But even though I was focusing more on the negative aspects of the trilogy, I still like playing the game overall, and the upsides for that game far outweigh the downsides for me at least. And I think now, when it comes to the structure of the video, I was actually very inspired by one of my favorite YouTubers. His name is Cat Icarus. He's British and really funny, and he does video game review stuff. Big inspiration of mine when it comes to humor and just overall being a YouTuber. We actually have a little bit in common. He was born in June, I was born in June. He's a Crash Bandicoot and Spyro fan, I'm a Crash Bandicoot and Spyro fan. We both have YouTube channels. You know, point is, I'm a big fan of his videos, and he was actually a really big inspiration for me, which you can kind of see in the video, because I kind of inspired the structure from one of my favorite videos of his, is where he goes over all the platinum relics in Crash Bandicoot. In that video, he does a top 5 list for all the hardest relics in each Crash game that he played. I took a similar structure with my Spyro video, by essentially making 3 top 5s for each Spyro game. And some people noticed this in the comments, which I'm really happy about, is that the intro is actually a reference to a Cat Icarus video.
Crash 1, I did it. Crash 2, I did it. Crash 3, I did it.
Spyro 1,
I did it.
Spyro 2,
I did it.
Spyro 3,
I did it.
all 3 save files have reignited.
I did it.
Shout out Cat Icarus for being one of the best YouTubers. It was very interesting playing all the games like this for this video, because it made me notice how, as I kept playing from Spyro 1 to 2 to 3, is that I noticed how completion just kept getting harder with each game. Like Spyro 1 was the easiest for me to complete, but then Spyro 3 was the hardest, and Spyro 2 was just like right in the middle, which is interesting because Spyro 2 is my favorite one out of the trilogy, and Spyro 3 is admittedly my least favorite. I think that's because the completion experience really bogged it down for me a little bit, and with like all the different playstyles in it feeling kind of inconsistent. Normally the first game in this series is considered the weaker one, but I feel like part of the simplistic nature of Spyro 1 was able to kind of help it because it's like it knew what it wanted to be and that it didn't like overcomplicate stuff like Spyro 3. Let me know which Spyro game is your favorite in the comments. Now we get to the filming and editing of this video. And when watching my Shrek video and Spyro videos back to back, that's when I really started noticing the similarities. From my use of live action for transitions, the beginning and outro, and how with the structure, editing kind of felt like I was making multiple videos and combining them into one. And of course the fact that these videos, to me at least, are really fun, even though editing made me want to jump off a cliff sometimes. The thing about the Spyro video and the Shrek videos is that the way I organized the production is that I would edit everything in segments, and then basically I would make a bunch of small videos and then combine them and edit them into one long video, if that makes sense. So the whole Spyro 1 segment of this video, of the top 15 worst Spyro levels, since I did a top 5 for each game, I basically made a top 5 video for each of them, and then I combined it and edited it together so it would be cohesive by using the live action bits as little transitions, similar to the book transitions I used in the Shrek video. And the thing about this is that actually editing this and the thing about this kind of style of production is that it made everything pretty well organized, but actually editing it would get extremely tiring, especially because these are 2 of my longest videos yet. To be honest, I got extremely burnt out during the editing process, and I think that with the Spyro video, you can really tell where I was getting super burnt out. Not only did the games get harder and me getting a little bit more frustrated because of how much completing them could suck with the worst levels, but because I was getting super tired of recording and editing, I was like, oh my god, I just want to finish this video already. Like, you can tell by the time you get to like Spyro 2 and especially Spyro 3. Especially because, fun fact, this is the first video I actually said cuss words in, and you can tell that I was and I think it's funny because I showed a little bit of restraint with like the Spyro 1 and Spyro 2 segments, but then you get to the Spyro 3 segment, and I feel like, to me at least, it felt like I was turning into the angry video game nerd. Especially during the Fireworks Factory part of that video for the #1 spot on the worst Spyro levels. That's the part where I basically started swearing like a sailor, which also reminds me of the reason why I use the dolphin sound for when I censor my cuss words. It's a reference to a SpongeBob episode called Sailor Mouth, and the whole joke is that SpongeBob and Patrick say cuss words and it's censored with the dolphin sound. I don't know about you, but I think that's one of the most iconic episodes of SpongeBob. Fun fact, the voice of SpongeBob, Tom Kenny, is also the voice of Spyro in the Reignited trilogy. He also played him in the original Spyro 2 and Spyro 3. Part of my anger was exaggerated for comedic purposes, but on the other hand, because I had been working on this video for like over a month, non-stop with very little breaks, I was getting a little tired and burnt out, so you know. Although comparing this editing experience, it's hard to tell which one I was more burnt out with compared with the Shrek video. Because if you've watched the last episode, you know how extremely stressful and like on a tight deadline I was for the Shrek one because of the whole CapCut ban and me having to basically complete an hour-long video before the extension was over, or at least intended to be over. The TikTok ban is just a complete mess, and the extensions made it even messier. And yeah, it was really stressful working on a video project that big. Again, my biggest project, knowing that if I didn't get it done in time, that it would basically be lost forever. Meaning I'd either have to scrap it or restart all over again, so it would take even longer. And the Spyro video was great prep work for that. Great as in I got an idea of what it's like to work on longer videos, but awful because I was extremely burnt out by the time I finished editing it. The Shrek video's production was definitely way worse for me, but the Spyro one was also, you know, pretty rough because it was my first time. But at the end of the day, I say that it was completely worth it because both these videos are super enjoyable and my best work yet. And you guys liked them, so that makes me happy too. One thing I noticed is that all of my favorite videos and my longest videos tend to involve me wearing a costume. Cause in this one I'm dressed as Spyro, Shrek video I'm dressed as Shrek, and in Sour Fate, one of my older videos, I'm dressed as Mario. Or more specifically, Da Mario. You know, it's the whole thing. And, you know, that I think out of all of them, DeMario is like the one that's stuck with me the most, mainly because of like the whole like history behind him, like as an inside joke and a nickname. I got a whole episode about it. That and Sour Fate was like my first really long video and my first collab with my friend Brandon, and it did kind of kickstart the trend of me dressing up in costume for big videos, as well as for them being a pain in the butt to edit because I don't have an idea of how long my videos are gonna be before I actually start making them. Yeah, word of advice, always have an idea of how long your video is gonna be before you start making it, because that's something that's really bitten me in the butt with my really long videos, aside from the Tinkerer video and kind of the Shrek video. But even then, the Shrek video ended up being way longer than I thought of initially. Plus, with the whole mess that I've already gone in depth about in its own episode. Yeah, main lesson, just always have a plan for your video as opposed to just going in blind. Then also just remember to take breaks every now and then, because that's something that I really should have done more of when it came to making this video. It's important to not burn yourself out. Not just with YouTube, just like in general, just a life thing, because it's very easy to do that. Remember to take care of yourself. For me, drawing is also a really good way to kind of take a break from everything. Or playing video games. Kind of like the Spyro Reignited trilogy. Yeah, it goes kind of full circle. And with that, that's it for this episode of Behind the Sketches. Thank you all so much for watching, it means the world to me. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like and subscribe to support the series. And definitely don't forget to share. Comment your favorite Spyro game in the comments below. And before I finish this video, I want to show off this little Spyro art I made. And if you want an art piece like it, make sure to go onto my Instagram and ask for a commission. Don't forget to follow my socials as well, like TikTok and DeviantArt. And don't forget, it all started with a sketch. Thank you all so much for watching, it means the world to me once again. This has been 2DS Studios, and until next time, stay tuned and stay cool.